We actually had thought about having this workshop several months ago, and we scheduled it then, and we were working with Adam Soltani with the Council on American Islamic Relations here in Oklahoma. And our goal really was to open a dialogue between and among the nonprofit professionals and civic leaders, et cetera. And just given recent events within the past week and a half, particularly the shooting in Orlando, we thought it was even more pressing to have these conversations, as really that Islamophobic chatter had, reared its ugly head in a very bad way since then. The turnout today is really exceptional, and we're so glad that we're able to have diverse, multiple voices in the room. But I think more importantly, people want to engage in a very reasoned and systematic dialogue about these issues, and they're large, they're complex. They start with Islamophobia, but they move into other types of xenophobia and bigotry and hate speech among all sorts of disenfranchised groups, and we have a number of those here in Oklahoma. And I think that gathering nonprofit leaders, particularly faith leaders, civic leaders in Oklahoma City, it makes good sense to have this kind of dialogue.
I think when you look at the topic, it just is the right thing to do. In this world where there's so much uncertainty and so much hate, we felt like it was time to sit people down and have dialogue again about people's fears. And this is an event, we built a museum and memorial here to an event that was created by fear and hate. And I think one of our jobs as a living, breathing museum is to keep the dialogue and conversation going. And if today the fear is over Islam, then we should have that discussion and bring the right people to the table to have the right discussions. And that's what this space was created for, is to always have relevant discussions about what's going on in the world. And if you go back 21 years ago, you'll remember some people thought the early perpetrators of this crime were Muslim, and that was one of those things we wish we all could take back. And so it seemed in so many ways the right thing to do, and to bring people to this space and to create conversation about why we should move forward together. We don't want to go back 21 years. We want to move forward together and in unity. And so, none of us want people to live in fear. And so I think we want to make sure that we're in this together. Well, I think the world, there is such an incredible amount of hate, and it's easy because of social media and the internet to be these anonymous haters out there and not have to look someone face to face and deal with your fears. And so I think it's always important to sit down face to face and have these conversations and work through whatever people don't like or do like. And so we have a strong relationship with the Muslim community, and I think we want to make sure that people realize that they're as American as we are. I mean, their religion may be different than mine, but we're all Americans in this together, and want the same thing.
I think that the two real key points here are that Islamophobia, along with all of the other types of hate speech and bigotry around it, it exists, and that it's pervasive in our culture. And it's pervasive in very active ways, but also very pervasive in passive ways. And I think to recognize and open that dialogue and understand what those are, and to really create a greater sense of cultural competency with our nonprofit community, our faith community, our civic community, is going to make Oklahoma a better place to live for everyone.